Hi, I'm Alisa, and I'm a therapist with Octave. Boundaries are one of the most talked about therapy topics online. We often hear phrases like protect your peace or cut off toxicity. But what does that actually look like? And what does that really look like when you're trying to set boundaries with your family? Today, we're here to talk about how you can set boundaries with your family. We'll walk you through step by step and offer you some guidance and some support. Setting boundaries with family is typically more challenging than setting boundaries with a coworker or a friend or a colleague because there's so much history. There's so much context. So when I'm setting a boundary with a family member, I'm not just referencing what happened in that moment that day. I'm really potentially looking at our whole relationship, the full history. And so there's so much weight there. We have so much history with our family. We also have this natural tie to family members and feeling that we need to give ourselves to them and to go above and beyond for them. And so sometimes setting that boundary can feel like I'm potentially doing something to maybe harm someone. That is never the case, but it can feel like because I'm making this change that I'm potentially causing some form of harm. There can potentially be big reactions as well. And some common feelings that can be associated with setting that boundary are grief and potentially feelings of guilt. When you're setting a boundary with family, there are going to be big feelings. Grief is common when we make changes. If we're setting up something like a healthy boundary that's going to support us, we're still changing or maybe even letting go of something that used to be our norm. And so it's okay to have space for wanting healthy relationships and boundaries and wanting to feel successful, and also grief and thinking about what used to be and potentially trying to usher and welcome the change that's coming. And so a boundary, again, does not have to be a hard line with one specific family member. It can also differ based on the context and how we hope to relate with them. Yeah, when people hear the phrase setting boundaries with family, they often think of cutting off their family or going no contact with them, or potentially setting a line in the sand that says, if you don't follow this, then I won't be in relationship with you. So often people think that a boundary has to be a hard line in communication with their family. The point of boundaries is definitely to create a supportive and a more balanced relationship for not only yourself, but also for your family members as well. It helps to set up consistent expectations and to take out that guesswork into how am I supposed to support and to connect with this other person. A boundary, it's for you, it's for me. It's not necessarily dictating how I expect someone to treat me. It's more of setting a line of this is how I hope to treat myself and helping to model that for people that I'm in relation with. Just a reminder that boundaries are not about perfection. We will not be perfect in every interaction and every context and situation. It's just about consistency. So maybe when we first start to set a boundary, it's the fact that we're trying at all. Maybe it's the fact that we said something or moved physically because we needed space, and that's a win. And so the more that we practice, the more consistent that we can present and come forward in those interactions, the more natural it will feel over time and the better that we will feel about it over time as well. When a client comes in and they're asking about boundaries, where can they begin? Beyond asking about their family history and trying to understand more of the context in their relationship, I also want to understand what is their ultimate goal? What do they hope for their relationship to look like after setting this boundary? Once I'm able to understand what the goal is, then we can kind of talk about, well, what feels realistic based on this goal, or what feels like something that you're willing to shift and change. So when we reach the point in therapy when it's time to actually set the boundary and take action on it, I recognize that that can feel challenging. It can feel pretty nerve-wracking as well. There could be some nerves or some anxiety for that client. And so we have to make sure that we have some self-regulation skills. Can we engage in some mindfulness breathing before we start the conversation? Can we also potentially engage in taking some pauses in before we talk? or pauses potentially after we lay that boundary out there. But first, we have to start with those self-regulation skills so that we can make sure that we feel as confident and as calm as we potentially can in that type of situation. Some things that I've seen work best for clients and even myself when I'm engaging in these conversations is having some affirmations in my head, kind of reminding me of that end goal, telling myself that I can do this is difficult, but it's worth it. Also, my favorite is taking 3 to 5 second pauses. And so in that 3 to 5 seconds, I'm allowing my body to catch up to what my brain is processing, what I've just said, and it also allows the other person to take in what I've said as well. So then I can potentially wait for their response, or I can even start to think and kind of read the situation of, well, how are they potentially reacting? What do I want my next move to be? It's also helpful to rehearse some of those breathing skills and self-regulation skills so that in that moment, my body won't freeze and I will know how to react if I potentially feel stress. So typically after we set a boundary, that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't see that other person again, right? Because we said that boundaries are not cut off. And so when we're around family members, around family events or holidays, we have to lean into that practice. What can be super helpful is having a scale, a simple scale of a 1 to 5. So maybe at 1, that's when I'm at my calmest. I know what I feel like there, what my body feels like. I know what I need in that moment. Maybe it's just taking really deep breaths before potentially having to act on a boundary, all the way up to a 5. And a 5 might mean a code red. A 5 might mean I need to lean into my exit strategy. Maybe that's a partner or a friend who knows what your 5 looks like, who can kind of help tap you and say, hey, was your phone ringing? We should go have a conversation over here. And so leaning into those strategies, using that scale of 1 to 5 to keep you self-aware and also to help keep you in control in those potentially stressful moments. So when you're in a situation where maybe your family member that you set the boundary with is ignoring it or isn't listening, I think it's okay to give a reminder of what's the boundary you discussed with them or what your hopes are for the interaction, really kind of setting your expectations. If they aren't able to respect that, you're in control of you. You're in control of your body. And so if you feel that you need to walk away from that conversation or take a pause or a break, again, reminder that a boundary is for us. It's for you to set the space that you need to say what the support is that you need in that relationship. And if it's not being honored, it's okay to take a step away. Setting family boundaries is really setting yourself up to receive the support that you need, to communicate your needs effectively, and also to create a sustainable, healthy relationship with your family. If you're struggling with family boundaries, I hope this conversation today helps you see that they're not about loving anybody less. It's about setting up a healthy, sustainable family relationship. If you have any therapy topics that you'd like for us to cover, please feel free to leave them in the comments. We check them and we'd be happy to share resources with you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Alisa, and see you soon.